Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aubrey. I'm so happy to have you all here with me today. So it is the last day of April when I'm filming this, April 30th, and it is time to do my April book haul. So as always, we're going to go through all of the books that I acquired or received in the month of April, and we're going to go through them based on where I got them. So to start off with, I actually have 3 books that my brother gave me. So the first 2, I think maybe he had extra copies or got them very cheaply from somewhere, and he asked me if I wanted them, and I was like, yeah, I would love to have them. So the first one is The Call of the Wild by Jack London. Now, I have read this book before, but it has been years and years. I think I was in elementary school the last time I read it. So I am going to read the synopsis on the back just because it's very short, and I feel like it very succinctly gives you a good idea of the plot, and I don't remember a whole lot of the details of this. It says, The Call of the Wild, considered by many London's greatest novel, is a gripping tale of a heroic dog who, thrust into the brutal life of the Alaska gold rush, ultimately faces a choice between living in man's world and returning to nature. So yeah, it's a very, very short book, although in this edition, the font is absolutely tiny. It's basically like microscopic. This is one of the Dover thrift editions, which, as the name suggests, are very, very cheap to purchase. I feel like they're very popular with students who need to get a certain book for a class. I have a couple of these that I actually got for a class for a graduate school that I had ordered through my school's bookstore, and they ended up being Dover thrift editions. They can be a little tedious to read because, like I said, the font is very small, the spacing is not very great, but it is really nice to have a copy of The Call of the Wild, since I didn't own a copy before this, and like I said, it's been years since I've read this book. And then the next one that I have is a copy of The Prince by Machiavelli. So this is the Crofts Classics edition, which I had never heard of before. It's a really neat, just short little tiny edition of this. I don't think it has a synopsis. I don't know very much about The Prince. I just know that, like I said, it was written by Machiavelli, who was a very prominent figure during the Italian Renaissance, which is a time period that I myself am very fascinated by. And so I'm very intrigued to read this because I've never read anything by Machiavelli before. And it looks like, I'm not sure actually, I think that it's nonfiction. I think it's like essays that he writes about rulership, but I'm not sure of that. It may be fictional. It may be like a fictional historical account. I'm not sure. It has an introduction, so I'm definitely going to read that and get a little insight into what Machiavelli was trying to accomplish here, what exactly was going on when he wrote this. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this because, like I said, the Italian Renaissance is a time period that I just find so fascinating. So much was going on. There were so many prominent figures of history who I myself have a personal interest in. And Machiavelli is just a name that I've heard and not someone, like I said, I've ever read anything from by or learned very much about, but I have heard the name. And also, he's in Assassin's Creed. That has nothing to do with him as an actual historical figure, but he is in Assassin's Creed. So yeah, anyway, I'm very excited to read this. And then the last thing that my brother got me and that he sent me is a copy of Lady of the Forest. This is the first book in Sherwood by Jennifer Robertson. And this is a really cool edition. I think it's actually, yeah, it's a first edition of this book. It's got, I think, some sun damage on the spine. It looks much bluer than the cover. But I love Robin Hood. I love classic fantasy, and he saw this in one of the little free libraries near where he lives, and he immediately thought that I would like it. And it's funny because it actually turns out that this is the first book in the series, so that worked out really well. So I'm really excited to read this. I love the legends, like I said, of Robin Hood, and classic fantasy is just so nostalgic and fun to read. But I am going to read the synopsis for this since it is the first book in a series. It is a time of civil strife and divided loyalties in the land of Richard the Lion-Hearted, and in the silent shadows of Sherwood Forest dwell a band of outlaws and renegades who know no law but their own. Each with a dark secret and a hidden purpose, they share only a desire to thwart the corrupt power of Prince John and ransom back their beloved King Richard. Allan a Dale, the lusty minstrel, the giant wrestler known as Little John, Will Scarlet, the murderer with a heart of gold, and the kindly, overzealous Friar Tuck. They are strangers, until they are united in a common purpose by a man and a woman who will forever live in legend, Robin Hood and Maid Marian. Sir Robert of Locksley. Back from crusade a hero, knighted by the Lionheart himself, he is disillusioned by his country's failure to ransom their king from imprisonment in a foreign land, even as evil Prince John is bleeding England white with taxes and plotting to usurp the throne. Turning his back on the life of an aristocrat, Sir Robert achieves a new nobility among the outlaws of Sherwood. There, they call him Robin Hood. Lady Marian of Ravenskeep. The proud and defiant chatelaine of a manor near Nottingham Woods, she is relentlessly pursued by William de Lacy, Sheriff of Nottingham, a shrewd opportunist desperate for her hand. But there is only one man who claims her heart, and Marian embraces a life full of excitement, adventure, and danger to be at his side. Robin Hood and Maid Marian. Their love has belonged to legend for centuries, and now it belongs to us all, stunningly brought to life by the masterful pen of a truly gifted storyteller. Jennifer Robertson has brought the tale of these two lovers out of shadowy lore and into the realm of fiction in this rich and sweeping story of a band of outlaws who shaped the future of an England that never was, but might have been. Oh, that sounds so good. I'm so excited. And this, I just love the art on this cover. It's so pretty. And I love how it almost has a tapestry kind of effect on the edges there. Yeah, it's just so pretty. So I'm really grateful to my brother for sending those to me. That was very sweet of him to think of me and to send them. And it's just, I just feel so loved. Okay, so now getting into the books that I got for myself. Most of these are pre-orders, books that I ordered and that just happened to arrive in April. And the first one was actually from a Kickstarter that I backed. And that is this massive art book called The Art of Vaughn 2013 by 2023. So this is the art book of a guy that I follow on Instagram. His name is Timothy Von Ruden. And I love his illustrations on Instagram. They're just beautiful. And this is also signed by the author. And this is just a collection of his works, like I said, from 2013 all the way through 2023. And let me just show you, how beautiful is that? They're so beautiful. Most of them are charcoal or pencil drawings, and he also does have little descriptions of maybe his motivation or what he was feeling or the theme of some of these pieces, as well as sketch pages that just have a bunch of smaller sketches on them. And I love it so much. I'm so excited to look through this. It's also so beautifully put together. It's got gilding, gilded edges. I mean, it's so pretty. Yeah, so I'm very excited to look through this and look for any illustrations that I haven't seen before, because this is just a massive, massive collection. And yeah, it's amazing. I'm so excited. And if you want to check out his links to his shop or his social media, you can check out that QR code, and that is also, I think, the handle that he uses for most things. I know it's the one he uses on Instagram. Alright, so then I had 2 pre-orders come in from Barnes & Noble this month. The first one is Volume 11 of the Case Study of Vanitas by Jun Mochizuki. This is one of my favorite manga series, and anytime a new volume is announced, I pre-order it. I actually read volumes 9 and 10 earlier this year, so this is the most recent one that has come out, and unfortunately volume 12 has not had a release day yet. Which means that I'm going to have to wait a while probably to read volume 11, because I do tend to like to read 2 volumes of manga at least together in most cases, just because they are so short. I'm also just a little bit disappointed because when the cover was first announced, the website that I saw it on had apparently gotten the special Japanese edition and the standard edition covers mixed up, because the standard edition cover is this one and the special edition cover is this one, and I like this cover a lot better. And I was so excited because I thought that was going to be the standard cover, and it's not. And now I'm sad because I really, really love that cover art, and I really, really want it. But anyway, I'm still very, very happy to have this. So with the case study of Vanitas, I have talked about it before, but in case you're new here or you haven't heard me discuss it, we follow our 2 main characters, the first of which is Noe Archiviste, and Noe is a vampire. He lives in an alternate version of Paris that's kind of like in a steampunk world. They have these big airships, they use like automatons, but Noe is traveling to Paris on an airship at the beginning of Volume 1 because he has gotten information that the Book of Vanitas has surfaced in Paris. The Book of Vanitas is an artifact that belongs to the vampire of the Blue Moon, known as Vanitas. Most vampires are born under the Red Moon, and they fear the vampire of the Blue Moon because they believe that this vampire has the power to destroy them or control them, using the Book of Vanitas. So at the beginning of Volume 1, as Noe is traveling to Paris, he encounters our second main character, a human who goes by the name of Vanitas and professes to have the Book of Vanitas, and who also claims to be a vampire doctor. So there is this sort of curse that is affecting vampires that causes something called a malnoulement, which is essentially like a degradation or a mutation of their true name that turns them into these monsters that just kind of attack humans, attack other vampires, are bloodthirsty, and Vanitas claims that he has the power to help them, to fix them. So Noe and Vanitas team up, and they're trying to figure out what is going on, what is causing these malnoumen, and trying to help vampires, and I just love it so much. It's so fun. It is one of my favorite series of all time. It is so beautifully illustrated, and in volumes 9 and 10 we are really, really getting so much character development and backstory, and the relationship between like Noe and Vanitas is just developing so beautifully, and seeing them like learning to trust each other. And anyway, that's the point of this, is not to gush about the series. I'm just really excited to have volume 11, but I am really sad because I need volume 12. And I don't know when we're gonna get it, but I need it. And this is also gonna start a brand new arc, and I'm just so ready. I need volume 12, but I'm so happy to have this. And then the next book that I got from Barnes & Noble is the Barnes & Noble exclusive paperback edition, stuttering a little, of Murtagh. This is the newest book in the Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. And when the paperback edition came out, they did release 3 different exclusive versions of it, the first of which was from Barnes & Noble. And it has these beautiful, like, magma flame-esque sprayed edges and French flap there. Yeah. The Inheritance Cycle is one of my favorite series of all time. It is Dragon Rider fantasy, if you are unfamiliar. I can't really go over the synopsis for Murtagh because you really do need to read the original 4 books, Aragon, Eldest, Brissinger, and Inheritance, in order to understand what's happening here, because this does take place after those books and follows a character from them. So I can't really go over the synopsis of this without spoiling a lot from the first 4, but it's just, I love the Inheritance Cycle. It means so much to me. I literally read Aragon, which is the first book, I think like at least 20 times. This is not an exaggeration. At least like 20 times in middle school alone. I would just carry it around with me, and anytime I was in the mood to restart it, I would restart it. So it just means so much to me, and it is one of the series that I collect all the editions that I can of, and I already have the Barnes & Noble exclusive paperback of Aragon, which is right over here. So I pre-ordered this when it was announced, and it's so pretty. And you're going to see Murtagh reappear at the end of this book haul. Alright, then I got one pre-order in from the Bookish box and shop, and that is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan. So this is part of the Camp Half-Blood series, and this edition matches the original set of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So this is, oh, what did they call it? Senior year? The Senior Year Chronicles or something like that. This is like when Percy and his friends are older, and applying to college. And I love the quote on the back: Percy Jackson will do your quests in exchange for college recommendation letters. But like I said, this edition matches the first set for the Percy Jackson series. And we have the sprayed edges, the end papers, and it is signed. It does frustrate me a little bit that they haven't done editions that match for the rest of Camp Half-Blood, because technically the Senior Year Chronicles, if that's what it's called, it's like the newest series that is coming out. There are a number of other series in Camp Half-Blood that come between the original Percy Jackson and the Olympians and this book. But I am still really happy to have this because it's very pretty. But Percy Jackson and the Olympians follows a boy named Percy who finds out that he is a demigod. He is the son of one of the Greek gods, and he finds this out when his mom is taken from him, and he starts encountering monsters from Greek mythology. And he has to go to this Camp Half-Blood, where other demigods stay, and learn how to fight and try to go on a quest to free his name, or clear his name, figure out what happened to his mom. It's just, that's essentially how book one starts, and it just gets so much more complicated as the series goes on. I've only read the original books in Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I have not read past that in Camp Half-Blood, but I would really, really like to. I just need to get the other series in this world. But I am very happy to have this, and that it matches my other editions. Okay, then I got two pre-orders in from Books A Million, and they're actually both from the same series, and that is The Case Files of Juler Richard by Nanako Tsujimura. So I have volume 10 of the light novel and volume 6 of the manga, which is being adapted by Mika Akatsuki. So this is a series that I am just pre-ordering again as they are announced. I have read the first two light novels, and then I'm also collecting the manga so that, I can go through and experience the story in that medium as well, because I think having that visual adaptation is really fun, and seeing how the story differs, getting to see the beautiful artwork and the visual representation of the characters and events is also just really fun. But in this series, we follow Seigi, who is a university student in Japan, and one day he helps to rescue this man, Richard, from a mugging. And he finds out that Richard is actually in Japan to open a jewelry store. So Seigi gets a job with him because Richard is very impressed by his sense of honor and honesty, and offers him a job. And so the series, at least in the first two books, is mainly just about them interacting with clients and solving different mysteries involving gemstones and helping different people with their problems. You learn quite a bit about gemstones, which is pretty interesting. The first two volumes are very, very episodic, but I do think as the series goes on that you start to get more of an overarching plot line and more of a sort of continual conflict, as opposed to just a new short story with each chapter. But I have only read the first two, and this is volume number 10, so I am quite a bit behind, but it is a series that I like enough that I know that I want to continue it, and since I've already started collecting it, I've just been pre-ordering them as they're announced. So those both happened to come in the same month from Books A Million, which means that I have a lot to get through with this series currently. Okay, and then I had two books come in from The Broken Binding. So I am part of their Tier 2 fantasy subscription, and these were the March and April books that both came in. And they are the second and third books in the trilogy that they have now just finished. So if you don't know how their subscription works, essentially they do typically 4 trilogies a month. And so you'll get 1 book a month and then start a new trilogy and continue with that. So the one that they've currently been doing is Rook and Rose by M.A. Carrick. So we have the March book, which was the second book in the series, The Liar's Knot. And it is just absolutely beautiful. We have the sprayed edges there, the back cover, the naked hardback, which with this one we have a spider, and then it looks like a walking stick and a rope. The front end papers and the back end papers. And let me just show you the back end papers up close, because they're just gorgeous. But since I do have the tier 2 subscription, my editions are not signed, which is fine. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm just really happy to finally be like receiving these books, because they're just so beautiful. And each of the books with the monthly subscription does come with a bookmark. So here we have the bookmark for The Liar's Knot. And then the April book is the third and final book in the series, Labyrinth's Heart. Then we have, well, my shade is fine, the back cover. We have the sprayed edges, once again. The naked hardback. The front end papers. And the back end papers, which again are so beautiful. I think these might be my favorite. So pretty. I don't know much about the series, and book 1 is somewhere in a stack down there. I don't want to get it out to read the synopsis. I do know it deals with like political intrigue. Here is the bookmark for Labyrinth's Heart. I remember when I read the synopsis for the first book, I think it's called Mask of Mirrors, I couldn't help but think of Orlais from Dragon Age and sort of like the great political game that they play and everyone wearing the masks. So I know this has a lot of like court and political intrigue and machinations, and I think maybe some kind of like, I don't want to say espionage. I don't think it's like a spy story or anything like that. But just people trying to outmaneuver each other, and maybe trying to, I know the main character is somehow becoming involved with this like political landscape, and this idea of like a court and courtly, behavior and manipulation and everything. So I think it sounds really, really cool. I've always really, I can't say I like Orlais too much in Dragon Age. I think they're really fascinating, and I think Orlais is beautifully done in the games, but a lot of the attitudes and behavior are not great in the games, but I do think that it's really fascinating, and I think that because this reminds me of Orlais, it's made me even more excited to read it. I don't know. If you've played Dragon Age, maybe you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this trilogy, and now I have all 3 books, so I really, really hope I like it. The Broken Binding, as always, just does such a phenomenal job of making these editions really special and beautiful, and I'm really excited for the trilogy that's starting in May, which is the Rift War saga. So I'm just so happy to finally be on their subscription list, if you can't tell. This is my first set that I've gotten from them, because I did get onto the subscription for the February book, and that was like the first one for me, so I'm just really excited. Then I got one pre-order in from Crunchyroll, and that is Volume 4 of Link Click, and this is actually the special limited edition made for Crunchyroll. I'm not entirely sure what's special about it, except that it does have this little obi at the bottom, but you can see the cover is really, really sparkly. It's so pretty. And it came with a little film strip bookmark. I don't know how well you can see that. And then a little card thanking you for buying the book, which was very cute. I only have volume 1 of Link Click, and I haven't read it yet. I have seen the first couple of episodes of the donghua, but this is a manhwa adaptation. You can see the art on the naked hardcover. This is a manhwa adaptation of the show. There's the back cover. And I think essentially it's mostly like screen caps from the episodes that have been, like, text has been added onto them. I'm not 100% sure because, like I said, I have not read volume 1 yet, but I know that I like the story of Link Click from watching, like I said, a couple episodes of the show, and because this was like a limited edition from Crunchyroll, I just wanted to go ahead and get it to make sure that it didn't sell out. I don't know. I'm kind of a sucker. I have like a bit of a weakness for exclusive editions of things that I like. So, oh, I guess I should say Link Click, we follow our 2 main characters. Oh no, what are their names? I don't remember their names. But these 2 guys who work for this, they have this company that they can actually go into a photograph and spend a certain amount of time in the past. So they like go and inhabit the body of the person who's in the photograph, and they use this ability to help them solve different mysteries. And this young lady also works with them. But I have only seen a couple episodes of the show, and it was a few years ago, and I don't remember their names, and I don't remember much about it, except that I thought the concept was really, really interesting. So I am probably going to watch more of the show before I start reading the manhwa, just because the show was the first version. But I do like having these little physical, like, novelizations. I guess this isn't really a novel, but you know what I mean. These like physical adaptations of the shows that you can flip through and look at. I just think that those are really fun, so I wanted to get it. And I am planning on collecting it because, like I said, I do already have volume 1. Then I got in 2 different books from Fairy Loot, the first of which I'm so excited about. It is their beautiful edition of Kiki's Delivery Service by Aiko Kadono, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So, you may have heard the name or the title Kiki's Delivery Service if you are a fan of Studio Ghibli movies. There's the sprayed edges. But a number of the Studio Ghibli films are actually based on novels, and Fairy Loot has started doing these really pretty editions of some of the novels that inspired Studio Ghibli films. For example, I have their edition of Howl's Moving Castle, which is the first book in the Howl series, and the other 2 books in that series are actually hopefully going to arrive soon. I think they're supposed to ship next month because I have pre-ordered those as well. Then we have the naked hardback, which, like, guys, come on. But they're so pretty. We have the end papers, and I think the back end papers are the same. Yes. And this edition is illustrated by Joe Todd Stanton and translated by Emily Balistrieri. But Kiki's Delivery Service is one of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies, and I'm so, so, so excited to read the book. I do actually have, I think it's the Barnes & Noble paperback edition, which is also really cute, but this is just so pretty, and it matches my edition of Howl's Moving Castle, and the art on here is just so cozy and lovely and just soft, and it just makes me so happy to look at it. And that's how I feel when I watch Kiki's Delivery Service, just cozy and soft and nostalgic, and so this matches that vibe perfectly. Witch in Training Kiki is always up for a challenge, so when her 13th birthday arrives, she's eager to follow the witch tradition of leaving home alone and finding a new place to live that's in need of magic. Kiki lands in the seaside town of Koriko and expects that her special witch's power will easily bring happiness to the townspeople. But gaining the trust of the locals is trickier than she expected. Luckily, with her faithful and funny cat, Gigi, by her side, Kiki soon discovers that friendship and magic can be found in even the most ordinary of places. It's just so lovely, and I'm so happy to have this. I really, really, really hope that they announce a similar edition of the My Neighbor Totoro novel, because I love My Neighbor Totoro so much. It's one of my favorites. My Neighbor Totoro and Spirited Away, I think, are my two favorite Studio Ghibli movies. And then Kiki's Delivery Service and Howl's Moving Castle are also just really close. But man, I would love to have a similar edition of My Neighbor Totoro. And I've also never read that book either. The only book that I've read for like a Studio Ghibli movie is Howl's Moving Castle. And I will say I like the book actually a lot better than the movie. They're very different. But I really am so excited to read this one, and I really want to read My Neighbor Totoro, and it would be so nice to have a matching edition, but we'll see. If not, I'm still going to get it and read it because I love My Neighbor Totoro so much. Okay, and then the other book that I got in from Fairy Loot is Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. It says, "Love can be a real lock mess." It looks so cute, guys. Like, so cute. And look at the sprayed edges they're tartan. I just love it so much. I showed this to my mom, and she's super excited to read it because my mom and I both have a bit of an obsession with Scotland. Here is the reverse dust jacket. I think this is the original dust jacket art. I'm pretty sure. Does anyone see his reflection? Does anyone notice? Because if my mom and I both have an obsession with Scotland, my obsession with the Loch Ness Monster is kind of through the roof. Nessie is my favorite cryptid. I love Nessie so much. I have seen so many shows and discussions and documentaries and read historical accounts about Nessie. And I know that this is not going to be at all accurate to the legend, but it looks so stinking cute. And it's a romance set in Scotland, and it is clearly going to deal with the concept of the Loch Ness Monster, and I'm so excited. Here you have the naked hardcover, which again, so cute. There's nothing on the back. And then they don't have pretty end papers this time, which I was really disappointed about, but it is signed by the author. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this. Like, just a unreasonable level of giddiness when I opened this, and I showed it to my mom, and she was like, so I think this is going to be a book that we're going to read together. The Man, the Myth, the Legend. What Lies Beneath the Depths. Kiana Key McKay is used to secrets. After her father's death, she finds herself thrust into a world he'd always refused to speak of. With just a bedtime story about the monster that saved her father's life and the name of her estranged grandmother, Key has no idea what she'll find in Scotland. But being rescued by a gorgeous, angry Scotsman is the last thing she expects. Lachlan, and please forgive me, I apologize sincerely if I pronounce any of these Scottish names incorrectly. I'm trying. Lachlan Greer has his own secrets to keep, especially from the bonny lass he pulls to safety from the slippery shore, one with captivating eyes and a last name he's been taught not to trust, someone he definitely doesn't find wildly attractive. Soon, it becomes clear that they might be the key to uncovering each other's secrets. Up against time, mystery, and a centuries-old curse, they'll quickly discover that magic might not only be in fairy tales, and that love can be a real Loch Ness. It just sounds so cute. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And this Fairy Loot edition was so pretty. Really what sold it, I could not resist the tartan edges. So, really happy that that one came in as well. And then the last two books that I have to show you, I told you that Murtagh would make a reappearance. I also got in the Target and Walmart exclusive editions. So I'll show you the Walmart one first because the Target sprayed edges are my favorite. But we have like a scale pattern on the Walmart version, and it continues inside the French flap. Well, I guess that's not a French flap. It continues inside the front cover. And then the Target edition, which, like, they kind of went all out with these edges. But y'all, look at that. Look at that. It's so beautiful. So pretty. And again, continues onto the inside cover. So, now I have all of the editions of Murtagh that are currently out, except the standard paperback, but it's exactly the same. It just doesn't have the, like, special sprayed edges or anything, so yeah, that's okay. But yeah, so those are all of the books that I received in the month of April. Like I said, all pre-orders. I'm still doing really well about not buying books. I do think I did have to go pick up at least one of the Murtagh editions because I wasn't able to pre-order it, but it doesn't count because I was planning to pre-order it anyway. But yeah, I'm so happy to have all of these to add to my collection, to add to my library, and I'm so grateful to my brother for sending me those 3 books that he found for me. But yeah, I'm still doing really well with not buying a lot of books. I am going to have to buy something today, actually, because I need to get the next book for my brother's book club, which is I, Robot by Isaac Asimov. And I was just going to maybe check out a copy from my local library, and then if I like it, get a copy. But unfortunately, the only version of I, Robot that my library has is the movie with Will Smith, which is a great movie, but I've seen the movie multiple times, and the book club is about the book, so I'm gonna have to get a copy of the book. And if I want to use my coupon to get it from Books A Million, which I think I'll do because I went by my local bookstore and they also just sold the only copy that they had. So if I want to order it from Books A Million, I am gonna have to add something with it to be able to use my coupon, because you have to, like, spend a certain amount to do that. And the book is not enough by itself. So I am going to have to do that. But otherwise, I'm doing pretty good about giving myself a break from buying things unless they are special in some way, special editions, or continuing series that I am already collecting and, you know, am just placing pre-orders to keep up with them, or ordering the next book in a series that I've started. Those are, like, my exceptions to this. I guess you could call it a book buying ban. I don't really like that term because it's like, I'm not really banning myself. I'm just trying to be a little calmer about it. But yeah, so as I said, those are all the books that I got in April. I would love to hear what books you have gotten recently, if you've gotten any, or if you have read any of these and you have any thoughts on them that you would like to share, either to, like, hype me up or just kind of talk about them. Just please keep all of your comments spoiler free. Or if any of these, now that I've talked about them, you find them interesting or think you might want to try them, I would love to hear about that too. Also, I forgot to say, but if you want to leave an emoji, let's do a little black cat or a little red bow. I don't know if there is one of those, but in honor of Kiki's delivery service. So you can leave an emoji with your comment, or if you just want to let me know you were here but you don't really have anything else to say, you can put an emoji down there, or a few. I really love talking to you guys in the comments, so I always appreciate whenever you guys leave one. It makes me very happy. So yeah, we'll go back to past Aubrey and let her finish the little outro. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you are all having a wonderful day or a wonderful night wherever you are, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!
Is that here? I don't believe how crazy she was going over the way.
I know.